Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button for more content. You might be wondering what makes some WWE games stand out from the rest. Uh, well, let's take a look at some of the most unusual titles in the WWE video game series. Uh, First up, we have Micro League Wrestling, released in 1987. This game was one of the first to feature digitized wrestlers, but its gameplay was somewhat restrictive compared to other games at the time. It was a turn-based strategy game that felt more like a simulation than an action-packed wrestling experience. Next, we have WWF Warzone, released in 1998. This game featured a unique art style and a roster of 18 wrestlers, including some iconic figures like Goldust and Ahmed Johnson. However, its gameplay was somewhat outdated by the time it was released, and it's mostly remembered for its cutscenes. WWE 2K Battlegrounds is another unusual title in the series. Released in 2020, it abandoned the traditional wrestling game structure and instead featured an arcade-style gameplay with a divisive art style. The game was polarizing, with some fans loving its over-the-top move sets and others hating its lack of realism. WWE Legends of WrestleMania is another game that stands out for its unique art style and roster. Released in 2009, it featured a fresh take on controls and a distinctive art style. But it left some significant gaps in the roster, including some notable figures like Mick Foley and Demolition, early 1862. WWE Survivor Series, released in 2004, seems like a typical wrestling game at first glance. However, its hardware constraints limited the number of wrestlers that could be displayed on the screen at once, making the full Survivor Series experience impractical. Shorter. WWF Royal Rumble, released in 2000, stands out for its unique match type. Unlike typical matches, this one can accommodate as many as 9 wrestlers simultaneously, making it a thrilling and unpredictable experience. WWE Aftershock, released in 2005, was a novelty for the Nokia N-Gage handheld gaming device. It was a rare find, but its graphics were relatively weak compared to contemporary standards, and the controls weren't particularly user-friendly. WWE with Authority, released in 2001, was a digital card game that focused on WWE. Players constructed their playbooks containing wrestling maneuvers and popular figures, which were then utilized tactically during matches. At WWF Betrayal, released in 2001, was a beat-em-up game that steered clear of the usual wrestling ring antics. It was a rare gem among WWE's extensive video game collection, but its gameplay was relatively brief and less impressive compared to other games in its genre. Finally, we have WWE Crush Hour, released in 2003, which was a vehicular combat game with a wrestling twist. It was a unique take on the Twisted Metal series and featured 12 wrestling arenas and over 30 unique wrestlers. These games may not have been as successful as some of the more popular titles in the series, but they're still worth mentioning for their unique twists and quirks.